So it's still the same day that I'm doing the last video that I did on this, which is the control arms and the track bar. But I just got it back together. So this is like my temporary fix, and I figured I'll show you how to do a quick alignment. First step, make sure the steering wheel's straight. Okay, so the steering wheel's perfectly straight. Now we're gonna go off of the rear tires for this, and it's solely by eye. What I'm looking for is the crest of the tires. So on the rear tire, there's the front side of it and the rear side of it. So I'm gonna move over until they crest together, and then I know that tire's completely straight. Then I'm gonna come down to the front tire, and you can see that this has a ridiculous amount of toe in. Like, it looks like I'm turned to the left, but the steering wheel's completely straight. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on just a second here. Okay, so I finished editing. Jesus Christ, I just had a mild stroke there for a second. I finished editing the video that you're watching right now. Okay, so there's still more to come and everything, but I just wanted to kind of just pipe in here just real quick because there's like a couple things that I want to mention. 3D tracking is really cool, but I'm not great at it, and even doing those stupid little arrows and stuff or whatever, it's still really hard to see what I'm talking about. And later in the video, when I'm actually doing like the alignment with the front tires and stuff, it's like really distorted, like the angle of the front tire and everything, so it's really hard to see. And this camera right here, the lens on it is offset. So right here is the center of the lens, but right here is the center of the camera. So when I'm looking at the left side of the truck, like the driver's side, I was also explaining something there where I could see like the rim of the wheel, but this camera can't actually see it because the lens is so far over. So every time that I'm using this camera, or like a GoPro or anything, like this is just how they all work because the lens is offset, which the new Osmo Action is actually like dead center. So, you know, maybe I'll look into that in the future, depending on how this channel goes, and like if I get monetized or something like that, then I can start dumping more money into like equipment for better videos. But when I'm looking at that, so right now, let's say that this right here, if I'm looking dead center right down, that's right here, and I can just see the edge of that board. And now if I come over, I can see like the whole side of it or whatever, but on the camera, it's just picking it up right now. So the difference in angle discretion is what I'm trying to get at here. So there's a lot of things in the video that I'm trying to explain that aren't fully picked up. Another thing is the distortion, because it's so wide. So if we look at this right here, and I just kind of, you know, move over a little bit, suddenly that thing is absolutely huge because it's being stretched out over in the side. So that's another reason that when I'm doing the alignment, it doesn't look like it's straight, because the distortion of the lens is pulling in different directions, so it doesn't look straight. That's what I'm getting at. So let's go look at the truck, and I can show you what I was talking about with the wheels.
Hey, Squirt! Hey, buddy! What's going on, puppy dog? Hey, you gonna help me with this truck? Yeah, we're gonna mess it all up.
What I was talking about with the tire is that there's a front side and a rear side of the tire, right? Yeah, because you're helping. So in this instance, this is the back tire, but it's still valid because of the direction that we're actually looking at it. So this right here would be the front side of the tire to me. So right here, and the back side of the tire would be right there. And what we're doing when I'm going across is trying to crest this side with the tread on the other side. So if I come over, right there, it's straight. And that's what you're not able to see in the earlier video, or I guess like this, the one you're watching. So when I come down to the front, what I'm trying to do is line up the crest on this tire right here, but on the back tire, I'm moving over until it crests and it's perfectly straight. And what I want to see is this tire to also crest at the exact same time. And that means that the amount of toe in or toe out is roughly 0 degrees, which on this truck, it's I think like 0.25 degrees toe in is what they want from factory. And then the caster is like almost 5 degrees or something stupid like that. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's a front side of the tire and a back side, and you just go across until they crest together, and that's perfectly straight. So now back to the regularly scheduled programming. So first we have to fix this wheel because this is connected to the steering wheel, and the left wheel is dependent on this one. So first we have to adjust the drag link. So these bolts right here are 18s and an 18 mil nut. You're going to loosen these off until they're just kind of hanging out. So the way this works is when you spin one way, they're going to tighten together, and when you spin the other way, they're going to loosen apart. So now I have this painted, so it's really easy to tell because I can just spin this, and you can see right here some fresh threads. And if I spin like this, it's tightening up on it, right? And we have too much toe in, so we need to push this side out. So we're going to go the opposite direction. I'm just going to keep spinning more and more in this little channel right here. Kind of hard to get into, but you can also use a screwdriver to try and free it up if there isn't anti-seize on here, which there really should be, because this is like a normal maintenance part. Anytime you get new tires or anything, you gotta do an alignment, so these should be regularly maintained. But you can stick a screwdriver in there to try and like free it up, or you can just get some big pliers that'll go around the middle, and you can do that. But mine are new enough that the anti-seize on it is still doing its stuff. All right, that's good. And one thing you kind of want to take into consideration is when you're doing this, this channel is going to fill with fluid. So you always want to stop with this at the bottom. So any kind of puddles or anything, or if you're off-roading, mudding, going through swamps, whatever, anything that goes in here can drip back out. So you always want to try and keep this toward the bottom and making sure that these, hopefully you can see it, are facing the correct way. So that's straight up and down. This one here just needs to rotate a little bit like that. So now they're perfectly straight. Now you'd orientate this slot on the bottom so that way liquid can drip out. And then you just loosen these things up a lot so you can actually just twist them and get the nut and bolt into the position that you want so you can actually tighten it correctly. So that's good. I moved it about 10 mil. So now I have to make sure the steering wheel is straight again because it's going to go to the least resistance and it's not going to push a giant 37-inch tire on the ground with an 8,000-pound truck on it. It's going to push the pitman arm, which is going to push the steering wheel. So the steering wheel is likely crooked right now. And would you look at that? So let's jump back in here, toss the key in so the steering wheel doesn't lock, move the steering wheel back, center that steering wheel back up, and check again. Now, again, looking at the back tire, checking the crest, which is right about here. The front still has a tiny little bit of toe in, so I might have to go 2 more rotations, maybe 3. I'll do 3 just to be safe, because I can always bring it back in. But so far, we've already made a huge improvement. So again, just right back in here. 1 more. Come on, another half turn here. Okay, there we are. Tie rod and everything's sitting pretty. Make sure that slot is on the bottom. Perfect, let's check this. Okay, so that's good. And let's check the crest again, and I can already see it has toe out. Right here, the front is cresting, and I can still see the back of the rear tire, so I actually have to go in 1 turn. Now, obviously, an easier way to do it is to have the steering wheel held in place. So you could do that by moving the seat all the way forward, wrap the seat belt around it, lock the seat belt in, pull the seat back, and then I'll hold the steering wheel straight, and then jack up the front so the tires aren't on the ground, and then the path of least resistance is going to be the tire, so you don't gotta go back and forth, but, you know, then I gotta jack it all up, and that's a whole bunch of work, and I just don't want to do it. So I'd rather just walk around, check the wheel, and come back. I'll do 1 more turn in, fix the wheel, and this should be good. So now we're going this way, back the way we came. Check that, right there. Good, slots on the bottom, fix the wheel. Okay, so that's good. Now what I'm talking about with the seat belt is you bring the seat forward, calm down. You can see the reason that I'm deaf. Take this, put it through the steering wheel and into the seat belt. Pull this tight and just push the seat back. There we go, it's run out of slack and it's going to hold the steering wheel perfectly straight. So now that's not going to move. And you would jack the truck up by the axle so the tires are off the ground and then continue this from that point forward. But then I got to jack it up and I want gravel, so I got to find wood, and it's just a headache, so I'm just not dealing with it. I'd rather just jump in and out a few times. You know, get those steps in. All right, so that's looking almost dead on perfect. I have to get an alignment done anyway. So I'm going to do another half turn. That's going to give it just a touch of toe in, which will help it track straight. Because right now it's completely square. So if I hit a bump or something, always going to go in the direction of the bump. But if the tires are in and I hit a bump, then like a tire that corrects slightly out is still going to be straight. And then the other one's going to pull it right back in. So it's always going to track straight in that sense. So a tiny bit of toe in is going to be a little bit beneficial in this sense. I'll do half a turn in. That's subtle. I'll do half a turn in, and then I'll just tighten it up from there, and then we can start attacking the left side. That should be good. I'll give the wheel a little shake, check just to make sure I'm where I want to be, and then I can tighten these up. See where we're at. Oh, that's beautiful. That's perfect. I couldn't be any more content with that. I'll tighten it up, and then we'll start the other side. Now, I'm just going to snug these up. So we might have to make some fine adjustments after. That's all tightened up, and we're good. Now we can wiggle the wheel and check the tire. Okay, and that's why we double check, because when I tightened it, it moved out a little bit. Bend in, then tighten, then I'll push it out just enough. So let's just crack the loose again. And let's go in. Now let's just tighten them down where they are. Okay, there we are. All right, that is beautiful right there. So it just has a tiny, tiny little bit of toe in and it's tight in place. So that's exactly where I want it. Now we can do the left side, which has an absurd amount of toe in. Not as bad as it was before, because before this one was actually out a little bit. So now with that one corrected, it pulled this one in past center. So now this one has to come out a little bit. So if we just look at the rear wheel and just kind of have it crest right about there, I can actually see the rim of the wheel, like just the edge of it at the tire. So that has to come out like a fair amount. And this right here is the exact same system. Loosen it up. It'll push that tire out. And I already broke it free and everything, because this one was almost seizing, even though it has anti-seize in it. So we can just try and get a screwdriver in here and kind of pry it apart. Oh god, this one's gonna suck. Oh my god, this one's such a pain in the ass. Come on, rotate. There we go. Oh my god, it never... Oh god. Okay, come on. Keep going. I'm gonna break the screwdriver. Wiggle the wheel and see where we're at. You know, it's a repetitive process. Now, even if the wheel is straight, the whole point is that all of the ball joints and everything have moved. So this is getting rid of any of the play or pressure in all of the ball joints. So that's good there. And I'm saying ball joints in the sense of the ball joint in the tie rods, or in the drag link, or the drag link to the tie rods. Those ball joints, not the like actual ball joint as its own unit. Like, these are still a ball joint. It's just they're a ball joint in something else. But I'm just saying, like, those ball joint aspects, those have been moved around when I'm adjusting things. So by wiggling the wheel back and forth, it's putting those back to where they naturally want to sit. So even if the wheel's straight, that's why I'm doing it. So let's make sure we're still good here. Perfect. And see where we're at here. All right, that's damn good right there. I think we're perfect. Yeah, I didn't straighten the wheel out like absolutely perfect. So this wheel just has a tiny bit of toe out, and that one has a little bit of toe in. If I just give the wheel a little shake. See where we're at here. That's perfect. That's perfect. Let's just snug these up. Now you know the drill. Wiggle and check. Okay, that's like almost square, just a touch of toe in. Okay, and that's dead set as well. All right, well, I mean, that's it. Easy enough. 4 bolts. You know, it sucks. My hands hurt. I'm very dirty. Nothing clean about it. There's an easier way to do it if you had like a paved driveway by lifting the axle and locking the steering wheel, like with the seatbelt or whatever. But, you know, I got some exercise, whatever. It's all good. You know, the alignment's like done enough. But between now, having the truck back together with like sketchy modified positive caster, just so it would all go back together, and just quick little alignment by eye, I figured it's, you know, it's good at least for like a week until parts show up. So hopefully you found something useful. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. That helps out. Or, you know, don't do any of it. I'm not telling you what to do.